Champion, and welcome back to my craft room. First of all, I want to tell you that I have been MIA, missing in action, and that was due to the last time that I did a little video was me giving you an update on how I've been feeling. I did really great the first 2 days of my surgery, the day of my surgery, the day after, and even that Friday. Then it all kind of went downhill. So I do go back to my dentist today, and hopefully we will be able to resolve some issues. But with all that said, I am back with a project, and even though I wasn't here, I was here in my craft room working on some things for y'all. And I want to show you what I made. And I think this is something that a lot of us can use. I know I can. And that is a storage box, or it sits like this. It looks like this on the side, and I put the same paper on both sides. It sits up like this, and it holds 30 of your distressed oxide inks. And I put mine in here alphabetically, so I have my antique linen. I don't have all of them, but these are the ones that I do have. It holds 30. I still have 2 more inks that aren't oxides, which is in the black, and I've got 2 more of these. I believe it's a worn, a vintage photo and a tattered rose. So I don't have those. I do have the tattered rose in this color, and I also have the vintage photo in the oxide. And how you can tell the oxide from the regular distress inks is the distress inks are in the black, and the oxides are in a gray. So anyway, I thought that I would show you how to put this together. Now, I will tell you, it might look daunting, but it really is not a hard project. The hardest part is cutting your pieces. Once you get your pieces cut, you can put this thing together in no time. I made this in 2 settings. I would say probably 2 hours total. But I didn't want to, I'm going to slide this one back over in its in the spot that I have for it here on my desk. And that's right here where I can get to my inks when I need them. It's so nice to have them right here at my fingertips. The same with my markers. I have my markers right here where I can get to them. Because when you are busy, you need your products where you can reach them. And I know if you're like me, I like to have my stuff close by. But before we get started, I will tell you this. You have to have chipboard. I would say you could try it with cereal boxes, but you're not going to get the sturdiness that you're going to get with chipboard. So I do recommend picking up some chipboard. Now, I do not carry chipboard in my shop. I will look for it on Amazon. I'll also look and see if May has it in her store. If she has it, I will put the link for it. I know she had some because I have bought from her before. We'll see if she has it. I'll also look and see if Amazon has it, and I will link both places there so you can figure what works best for you. So anyway, what I did is I cut all my pieces. Now, I have 12 construction strips, and this is the strips that we're going to use to put the boxes together. These are cut at 1 inch by 12 inches long, scored at 1/2. Very simple, straightforward. I took 1 sheet of black cardstock, a 12 by 12, and I cut it in 1 inch strips and scored it in the middle at 1/2. This is all just cardstock here. This is your bottom cover and your back cover. We are going to do some work on those, so I'm going to lay those to the side. These are the shelves that's going to live in between our little construction pieces. We're going to lay those over here because we'll get to those in a minute. I do need to write my measurements on these so that I'll have them when I get ready to. So this is 2 7/8 by. Don't worry about the measurements because I am going to go over those as we do these. I'm also going to put the measurements on the screen as I show you each piece. So you'll notice that right now I have these showing as 1 by 12 scored at 1/2. And as I show each piece, I will do that. And you also will see the measurements written on the piece as well. Let's go to the base or the back of our box. This is our back, and this is 11 1/4 by 9 7/8. And this will be the back of our box, so it will sit like that. And then we're going to have our sides. I'm going to do 2 of these. And these will live right here, like this. And they are 3 1/4 by 11 1/4. So those will look like that. And then we have our top and our bottom. And I actually switch these. I have this saying it's the top when actuality this is going to be the bottom and this is going to be the top. And those are 9 3/4 by 3 1/4. And that will live here, and this will live here. Yeah, that's right. So that will build our box. So once we get that done, and we will get to putting those together in just a moment. I'm going to lay those over here. The other thing you're going to need, like I said, the shells, you're going to need 10 of these. And they are 2 7/8 by 9 3/4 or 3/4. And you need 10 of those. These will be our shelves that will fit in where our ink will sit on. Then you're going to need these little divider pieces. This is the most tedious part of making this box. You're going to need 40 of these. And I got them stacked in 10 in each stack. And these are 1 by 2 3/4. So they're 1 inch this way by 2 3/4 this way. And you need 40 of those. Now I use scraps for doing mine. I'm going to move these back over here out of our way. I use scraps to make mine with. Some of the scraps that was left over from the pieces that I cut. But they do need to be chipboard, not cardstock. Now what we're going to need to do is on our bottom cover, and this piece was, did I not write it on here? No, I didn't. I'm looking to see if let's see. It's 9 3/4 by 3. 9 3/4 by 3. Okay, so I'm going to turn this over because I want this side to be glued down. I don't want the writing to show. Now we're going to need to take our ruler and put your ruler right on the edge at the top, on the very edge of this. And you're going to make a little tick mark at 3 1/4 and at 6 1/2. That's all you need to do. Now come down to the bottom and let's do the same thing, making sure we're right on the edge. 3 1/4 and 6 1/2. And then what you're going to do, I like to use my my key ruler because I know by using it I can get a nice straight line, and I just butt it against the top and I draw my line straight down just like that. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. Put my key ruler right on the lip of that and draw that straight down. Now this is crucial to do this. You might think this is an overkill, but when you get ready to build your pieces in to lay your shelves on, you're going to need these lines to help you. You're also going to do that on this, the very same thing on this back cover. And like I said, this back cover is, let's see if we can get a measurement on it. It is 9 3/4 by 11 1/4. Or is that 1/8? That's 11 1/8. Okay, and we're going to turn this over because this was going to get glued onto the back of our base. So we won't see that writing. So on the back side where you don't have the measurements on, and you might not even have to have the measurements on yours. I have it on mine for the sake of the video. So you're going to do the same thing with this. You're going to take your ruler and lay it right to the edge, and you're going to measure it at 3 1/4 and 6 1/2. Come down to the bottom, or if you want to, do it halfway. 3 1/4 and 6 1/2, and then come down to the very bottom. Do the same thing. 3 1/4 and 6 1/2. Now you're going to draw the very same straight lines that you did before, and I'm going to again use my T-ruler. You don't have to use a T-ruler. I find it easier to make sure that I'm straight. So you're just going to draw that line. These are nothing more than guidelines. They will not be seen once you get your construction strips in. So don't be afraid that this will show. Okay. So now we've done the prep work on these two pieces. We can lay these to the side. And now we are actually going to work on our construction. So I'm going to use this side up because we know we're going to cover this, because this is going to be covered with this. But not yet. We are going to do our sides and our bottom. I'm going to lay our shelves over here with our little construction strips, and let's do our sides first. I think I'm going to put that side to the outside. Now what we're going to need in order to construct this is we're going to need these construction strips. So what you want to do, they've already been scored at 1/2 inch if you followed my directions. We're going to go ahead and do a bone folder on these. I'm just going to turn them in like so, and then I'm going to crease it down just like that. Now I'm going to take one side of this and I'm going to put glue on it. So I want to put this one inside here, just like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue on this side. Let's find the art glitter glue. I moved my desk around to accommodate my holder, and now I have difficulty finding my stuff. Do y'all ever do that? So I'm just going to put a generous portion of the art glitter glue inside. And then I'm going to take this back piece and I'm just going to set it right into that glue. And then I'm going to make sure I press that edge up and down, making sure that it gets glued. Now I'm going to fan that out just a little bit so that I can get a good press on that. Now I know we put glue down too far, and that's okay. We're going to get a wet wipe so we can kind of clean up our glue. We don't want to get that all over everything. Especially me. I don't know if you're like me, but I get glue on everything I touch when I'm doing a project, especially something this big. And like I said, do not be intimidated by this. You will be surprised how much you will learn in putting a project together like this. It is going to be amazing. So we're going to get I'm going to use my little Tim Holtz snips, because I'm going to snip off this piece right here, even with that back chipboard. And you can just throw that away. We won't need that little piece. So now what we want to do is we know we want to put our side on. And this is our side. So what I want to do is I want to get it to fit right down in there. But I want this black construction strip to wrap around it, just like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this way, and I'm going to put a good amount again, and get it down in that little crack right there. That can be important. And just wiggle it. And now we're going to take this piece and just set it right in there, just like that, holding it up, and we're going to bring that piece of that construction strip up to it. Just like that. Now I'm going to work that strip. I'm going to use my bone folder, and I'm just going to press that down on both sides really well, and see how it bends up now, and you have this nice little side that is adhered to here. So now we're going to turn it around, and we're going to do the very same thing on the next side. So we're going to take another construction strip. We're going to use our bone folder. I'm going to fold it really good. Get that good crease right there in the middle. Work it down with my fingers, and we'll go back with the bone folder and really crease it. All of this little work that you do in preparing your pieces will make the world of difference in your project when it's finished, because these are the little things that gives your project a nice professional look when you're done. So we know that, I'll tell you what, let's mark it so we don't get glue all over everything. Let's mark it to where we need to cut it. So I want to go right there. So where's my trusty little pencil? So we're going to cut that off right there. So I'm just going to whack that off now before we put glue on it. I'm going to open that up, and I'm going to get some glue all up in here. Y'all seeing what I'm doing? I don't want to be out of camera frame, but when I am working on a big project like this, sometimes it is hard to stay in focus, or not in focus, but in screen. And I want y'all to be able to see what I'm doing. This is very repetitious what I'm doing right now, because we're going to do this all the way around. So I'm just going to slide that on there. Oops. Just set it in that glue. Just like that. Bring it up. Make sure you got it good and even. And then work it down. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to take and put glue into our little edge. And we're going to put glue all up in here. So we're going to take the other side, and we're going to lay that right into that glue. Just like that. And then just bring it up. It over and press it down. And use that bone folder and get it in there really good and tight. So now we have two sides of our box done. We have our back and our two sides. Now let's go ahead and do our bottom. I still think I'm going to flip this for the bottom, and I have a reason for that. Now our bottom's going to be a little bit trickier, because we're going to need to do the bottom across here and then we're going to need to bring these up and do the corners. So we're going to do the bottom first. The bottom is going to be done just like we did the other ones. With the exception, we're going to cut these to fit. So I'm going to lay one of these construction strips across here, just like that. And what I'm doing is I'm laying it on top of it because I want to get the exact length, and I'm just going to draw a line, and that's going to be my cut line. And then we're going to fold this together just like we've been doing. Use the bone folder. Your bone folder is going to be your best friend in making a project like this. Your bone folder and your glue. Alright, so now this time we're going to put this piece like this. So I'm going to put it on this side here, and I am going to do the same thing I've been doing. I'm going to load this up with glue. I'm getting a clump because I'm not putting my top back. Now if you get a clump in your glue, just take a wet wipe and just wipe the tip of your bottle off, and that should get your glue flowing again. Remember how quick art glitter glue sets up, so you know it's going to set up when you leave the top off of it for any period of time. Okay, so now I'm just going to lay this piece in here like that. I'm going to press it down. Press it down, press it down, press it down. And if you see that you need to trim off a little piece like that, just whack it. It's all good. So now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to put this up under here. So we're going to put glue on it. Get it all down in the edge really well. And then we're going to slide it right up even, just like that. Now this time I'm just going to press it down here. And now once we put these pieces together, we will have the bottom of our box will be done. Now we do have a little bit of a gap right there, but don't worry. I kept a little piece of chipboard for this type of incident. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut just a tiny piece off of here. About like that. Anytime that you're putting pieces together like this, you can have a little place that might be off, but it can be repaired. Just cut a piece of chipboard about like that, and what we're going to do is we're going to glue that in to make this fit. Okay, I'm going to stop, get this piece measured, and I will be right back, and then I'll show you how to glue that in. Okay, we are back, and what I did with that little piece, I went ahead and clipped it down, and I glued it in. But all I did was put glue right on the edge, and then butted it up against it, we still look like we might be a little high right there, but not enough that I think it's going to matter. But that gives you where this will come together at a perfect angle. And that's what we were trying to do, is make that where it closes together. Now we're going to use a construction strip on both sides of this. And what we will do is take a piece, and I cut this piece to fit, and that's going to close in that box. And how we're going to put that together is the same way we did before. We're going to put glue on one side and glue it down here. Then we're going to close this up and put glue on it and close it down there. So we're going to put glue on this side first. So pulling out my art glitter glue one more time, we are going to put lots of glue. Oops. And I'm going to lay this down. And what I want to do is I want to butt it up as close as I can so that it's a nice tight fit on this piece right here. Just like that. Grab my bone folder. And you might think that's an overkill, but it really isn't, because you're going to need that pressing that glue into that chipboard to make sure we're getting a good, a really good adhesion there. So the last thing you want to do is make something like this and not make it well enough, and then it falls apart. That's not what we want. So again, I'm just going to press that in, press that down. I'm going to sit it down, and I'm going to run my bone folder along this edge, just like that. And now that's together. Now we're going to do the same thing over here. Now remember, this was the piece that we pieced. If I bring it up closer, you can see where that little piece is pieced in right there. So I'm going to cut another piece of my construction strip. And what I want to do is make sure that it is the right height. Just like that. My pencil has run away on me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this down. And I'm going to draw a line. And then just use my snips to snip that off, just like that. Now, again, I think I'm going to do this side first. Yeah, we need to do this side first. The reason for that is because I don't want to bend on that too much. And once you get this piece on it, that's going to hold that piece down even more. So again, we're going to take this piece and just lay it into that glue, nice and tight, pressing it into that glue. And then we're going to bring that up, and we're going to wrap it around this side and put glue in it, all in that crack. And then just bring that up to it, make sure it's right into that edge, and then wrap that around. And this looks like it's up just a little bit, but that's okay, we can trim that off. Just like that, and like that. Now we have the bulk of our box is ready. As you can see, we're getting there. So now the next thing we want to do is we are going to put in, let's go ahead and put our back cover in. I'm just going to lay this in here, and you can see that's a nice fit, so it was cut properly. And again, this piece was cut at, this piece is cut at 9 3/4 by 11 1/8. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to use my tape runner, my ATG, and I am going to run tape adhesive along the edge all the way around. I think the reason I want to do this is I think that glue, it would be so much glue that it would make this piece wet. So now, if you have any that hangs over, just curl it back. Just curl it back into itself. Now I'm just going to run a piece across and across, maybe here and here and here and here. And I think that's going to give us all the adhesion that we will need. So I am going to turn it this way. And I'm going to bring it down to the bottom, and then I'm just going to lay it down and press. That's a good way to put this in without having it wet with glue. And you can definitely see my lines that I drew in here. And this is where we're going to build our shelves up from. But before we do that, we have this piece, and this piece needs to go in here. I want to bring this piece down to the front edge, like this. So I'm going to do the same thing with it. I'm going to use the tape runner. And again, this bottom cover piece is 9 3/4 by 3 inches. And we're just going to run adhesive along there, along here, here, and here. And maybe just one piece across the middle. I think that's all we're going to need to hold this piece down. Check your edges, and like I said, if any tape is hanging over, just grab it. Now I want this to come up. Now, I'll tell you what, I'm going to turn the box this way so I can line this up. Because this piece needs to be lined. And we'll try to hold it like this so you can see what I'm doing. But I want to bring it to the front. And I want to make sure that my lines are lining up with the inside of the back cover. There we go. Now I am going to use another construction strip to put over top of this, and I'll tell you why I'm going to do that. I want this box to have a finished look around the edges. So I am going to mark this piece. Might not even have to mark that. We might just be able to bend it. And I think that bend is going to work for me. Just like that. And then we're going to glue this piece in. I'm going to go ahead and crease it. Make sure we have a nice crease on it. And then we're going to put glue on both sides. This time I am going to use glue on both sides. Just like that. And then I'm going to set it right on top of this edge. And I am going to tuck it down nice and tight all the way across. Set it down, use our bone folder, and just really scrunch that in. So there, that is done. Now the next thing we're going to need to do is I want the entire sides of this to be covered in black. So I'm going to get another piece of black paper and I'm going to cut it, and we're going to fit it. I did not cut this prior to the video, but I do have another piece right here, and this will give me the both pieces that we need, which will be 3 1/4 by 11 1/4. So let's get our trimmer out. I was trying to keep y'all from having to watch me cut all these pieces, but okay, so 3 1/4. By 11 1/4. And this piece will very easily fit right in there. We're going to put more construction strips on the outside here to hide all of our edging. We need one more. 3 1/4. Now all of these measurements, like I said, are going to be in the description below this video. So don't be overwhelmed. Okay, 11 1/4. And this piece will live right here. Alright, so let's go ahead and glue these in, and then we will cut another construction strip that's going to live across this. And I think with this one I'm also going to use the tape runner. Oops. So let's just, and if you don't have a tape runner like this, you can use your wet glue, or if you have sticky tape, two-sided tape, you can use that. Don't limit yourself, because whatever adhesive you have, you can use it to construct this box. So now this piece is ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can put this in so you can see what I'm doing. I am just going to drop this in just like this. I'm going to get it down in there and then smooth it in. Now we're ready to take another construction strip and bend it across here. I am going to bend it like that, and then we're going to snip this off right there on that edge. Now I'm going to take my bone folder, and we are going to crease this down. We're going to do the same thing with this one. We're going to open it up and we're going to put glue on both sides. If you notice, I run a bead of glue inside that the ditch line, the fold line of this this construction strip, because I want to make sure that it adheres everywhere. I think if you make one of these and you see how simple it is to put these boxes together, you will find all kinds of ways to make storage items for your craft room. And what a wonderful piece of art, and also a tribute to your crafting skills to make your own storage items. Did I get enough of glue in there? I don't think I did. And if you didn't, just raise it up and squirt a little more glue under there. No problem. Pressing it down. And the same thing on the outside. It looks like right here it's raised up just a little bit. And that's what's nice about this fine tip on our art glitter glue. It allows us to get up underneath those little places and squirt just a little more glue in there. And that looks nice. That looks really nice. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing here. It's sticking up just a tiny little bit. I don't think it's enough to worry about, but I wanted to trim it off nevertheless. Now let's do the same thing to the other side. I am going to put my pen back in my glue this time because I am so afraid I'm going to get a clump. I think I already did. Oh, there it goes. Didn't seem like my pen wanted to go down in there. Alright, so we're going to do the same thing here. I'm going to run my tape runner along this side. And I've got sticky on my work surface. Definitely want to get that off so I don't end up getting a piece of paper stuck to it that I don't want. Okay, I am back once again, and now we have this little construction strip that's going to glue on right here, and this is going to give stability to this corner over here like it did on this side. So what I'm going to do, same thing we've been doing, pull out the glue. We're going to glue right down the middle, and then just up and down both sides of this, getting it on the edges really well. And just so you'll know, you can also use a tacky glue if you like. My first one I did use tacky glue. I was afraid that it was going to take way too much of my art glitter glue because we are in the winter months and we know we can't order that during the winter because of the freeze temperature on it. But I just want you to know that if you are low on your art glitter glue and you want to save it for your other projects, card making and things like that, don't feel like you have to use your art glitter glue. You can very well put this box together with some tacky glue or something like that. This time I'm using the art glitter glue, and I'll be honest with you, I do like the art glitter glue much better. And anybody that's used tacky glue and art glitter glue will tell you that your art glitter glue is your better adhesive. But just thought I would put that out there because I don't want anybody to think that they've got to use up all of their art glitter glue for that reason. You can get away with just using something else. So, all right, we are going to. I think what I'm going to do on this piece is I want to make a box up here, a box that will hold you know, just some pieces, maybe your little ink daubers or something like that. I'm going to lay this over to the side. And I've got a few pieces of chipboard left over, and I also have some other pieces over there. I think what I want to do before I go any further with this, I had cut this piece here that I want to hang down right about there. So I am, and I think I had this construction strip that was cut for that. Let's lay it in there and see. Yep. So I think what I'm going to do before I go any further, I'm going to glue this to the front of this. And let me show you how to do that. Now this piece was a 1/2 inch by 9 3/4. And then this is the cut at the same length, and it's 1 inch scored at a 1/2 inch. So it pretty much gives you the same, let's see, which way do I need that to go? Okay, I need my glue on this side. Always do that, kind of put your pieces up there and kind of decide where you need it to live, which side you need your glue to go on. This piece didn't matter because you could turn it around, but some of your pieces it will matter. So as a rule of thumb, I just make sure that they always will match up the way I want them to. That way I don't make a mistake. Not to say that I don't, because y'all know I do. Alright, I'm going to put this right in here, and I'm going to press that down. Just like that. This is going to give us a nice stable lip right here on the front, and that's going to help to give our box a much more finished look. Just like that. Now what I'm going to do when I glue this down, I'm going to run my glue in here first. But then I want glue right here and right here where the chipboard is. And let me bring this back over and I'll show you why. When I set this down on top, I want that chipboard just to fit right in there and right in there. And don't worry if you get a little glue on it, you know you can clean that up or it dries clear, so it's not going to matter. We're also going to decorate this box, so it's going to be so pretty when we finish with it. Now to make sure that that up there glued, stick your finger underneath there and just press it down. You might even want to use your bone folder. And then press these pieces back in, because you really want this to have a nice neat look. You know, if you're going to display this with your inks in it, which that's exactly what we want this for, not just for the beauty of it, but also for the functionality of it. Okay, there we go. So we have that top made. Now the only thing we've got left to do is to make our little shelving unit for the top. And the little unit that I want to make is going to be like a tray that's going to live right here on top. And that's going to be done very, very easily. Now some of you are probably thinking this is an overkill, but the reason I wanted this so sturdy is I wanted this sturdy enough so if you wanted to sit something a little heavier up on top of this, you could do that. The one that I made is not that sturdy. Because I didn't do that. So I am cleaning off my glue, and I am going to set this over to the side for just a moment. Get my pen back in my glue. And I'm going to bring my trimmer back up because I am going to need to trim or cut my pieces. Let me measure this one more time just to make sure we're getting our measurements correct. We need this to be right at 10 inches. Yep, 10 inches by 3.5. Okay, so 10 by 3.5. And we know this one's not going to work. Well, 10, you know what, this will work. We only need it to be 10 inches this way. So let's go ahead and cut this at 10. And we're going to set that up there for a trial run. Looking good. And this piece is, do I want that to go down just a hair? Maybe I'll do the higher piece on the back and a lower piece on the front. Let's see, this is, this is 1 3/4. Let's see what this would look like at 1 3/4. And I've got that piece on there. I'm wondering if I can just, I think I can do that. So we're going to do 1 3/4 on this piece. I think I'm going to go with the 1 3/4 all the way around. One and 3/4. Maybe I did that at 1.5. 1 and, yep. Okay, let's scrap that one. See, I told y'all I make mistakes. And let's see what else we've got over here that we can cut down to give us that little ledge that we need. That one's not long enough. And I really, really, really did not want to have to go and get another piece of chipboard for this. So let's figure out how we can piece this and make it work. Move my phone out of the way. Okay, that one will work there. Maybe we'll just do one that's not quite as wide. So this piece is 1 inch. Let's cut this one down to 1 inch. We'll just do a 1 inch little cubby at the top. And that will definitely work. Doesn't have to be, super deep. It just needs to be a place where you can have just a little area to lay something. And I'm really thinking ink daubers would be the perfect place, or the perfect place to stick them when you're using them. Because I usually use my ink daubers with my Oxide inks. And I think that's going to work nicely. Yep. Okay. So again, we're going to need some construction strips, and I do think I'm going to need another length of construction strips. Let's see, I got 2 here. I've got some little pieces of chipboard that I think will work here. These need to go down to 1 inch. And 1 inch. Okay, so that will live on the side, and let's see if this one is 1 inch. just a hair over, so we're going to trim it. Just hold it really tight in your trimmer whenever you're trimming these short pieces, because the chipboard will move on you, because you are cutting something that's a lot thicker than what you're used to cutting. So here's our two side pieces. We have those, and we have our front and our back. So now we just need construction strips. So let's see what I have here. This might be a piece right here. This is 1 inch, so we can make a construction strip out of it. And there's another piece of paper. I think we can get our construction strips out of this. Now I know I cut cardstock with this, but I'm going to take a chance. And see if we can trim that off. And there we go. I think we got that. I just got to remember to put my regular blade back on there. Because if you notice, look how frayed that blade cut my... See the fraying? And that's what happens when you have a dull blade or cheap cardstock. Alright. I've had a brand new blade in my trimmer and cut some not so good cardstock and have had that issue. So, alright, this isn't quite one, but I'm going to do it as one. It will hold. See, that's a little bit more on one side than the other, but it's okay. Now that is one. Break it down in half. And that gives us 2 more pieces. That should be plenty to put those 4 sides on with. So, let's bring our box and our side pieces back over. And what we're going to need to do first is grab a strip. I'm going to use the longer pieces for the front and the back, and then we'll use those shorter pieces for the little side pieces. So I'm going to bend this, and then I'm going to use my bone folder and crease it. We're doing the same thing we've been doing with the entire construction of this box. We are doing nothing more or less than making, let's see, yeah, we need that to be like that, and I want it to go from this side to this side, so we're going to trim that right about there, and I'm going to glue it down on this side. Actually, I think I'm going to glue it onto my strip first, which is going to be this one. Now this is where you really have to pay attention to what you're doing. Now you know you want this to live like that, so this piece needs to go on just like so. So, okay, we are back. I'm sorry about that. I had an interruption from a phone call, but where we were at was I put adhesive on this strip that we are going to fit inside the side piece, just like we did on that one. So I've already run my tape runner on it, and I'm just going to turn it over, and I'm going to sit this in, making sure that I get it all the way to the back and all the way down to the edge. So I'm gonna actually just put it in like this, just like that, and then raise it up like that. And then I'm going to push this down. I'm going to use my bone folder, and I'm going to rub that in, just like that. Now we have this, all of this is done. And yeah, you're going to see a little bit of spacing here and there, but that's going to be completely covered, so don't worry about that. The next thing we need to do is put the construction strip that will seal this edge and make it look nice and neat. So we're going to grab another one of our construction strips. I'm going to move that out of the way just for a moment. And we are going to do the same thing. We're just going to bend this. We're going to crease it down. Just like that. And then I'm going to set it up here, and I'm going to fit this down on top of it, making sure you get it all the way down to the bottom. And I'm going to bend it right there so I know where to cut it. So again, I'm just going to take my snips and I'm going to snip that off just like that. I'm going to set it back up here and make sure we got a fit. And that looks really good. So now let's do the same thing we had been doing, and that's put some glue on it. And you know what? I hope I didn't leave my pen. I think I did. I left my pen out of my glue a little bit too long, so I'm going to have to take a regular pen. Now these are the stainless steel ones. You do not want to put a nickel-plated pen into your glue. It will rust and it will cause your glue to turn a yucky rusty brown that's really not attractive. Alright, let's see if I break that enough that we can get some glue out. Yeah, we did. So again, I'm just going to run glue all inside of here. And like I said, you want to be generous with your glue because you really want to make sure that this seals down. And I'm running it in the middle as well as all around the sides. Okay, so bring our box back over, and all we're going to do is I'm going to sit it on here and I'm going to slide it all the way down to that bottom corner, and then I'm just going to work it with my fingers just like this all the way up. We'll turn it over like this, and then I'm going to use my bone folder and I'm going to work it down. That really helps get that glue sealed in there. It also gets rid of any of your buckles that might take place. So that looks really good. So we got that much done. So the next thing that we want to do is build our shelves. Now this is probably the most tedious part, but it's not hard, it's just tedious. And what I'm going to do, oh, you know what? Oh, that's okay. We're going to cover these sides with some decorative paper, so this is fine. We're also going to put a piece of decorative paper on the back, and we will put a piece across the top once we get everything done. And I'm going to make this one a little different than I did mine, and I'll tell you why. We've got that little gap, so I'm thinking that we can make a little tray at the top where you can set your little sponge dabbers, maybe another couple of inks. So we're going to do this one just a tiny bit different than we did that first one and see how it works out. So we're going to go ahead and grab our little shelving units. Oops, I already got one. I didn't realize I'd already grabbed one. This is 10 of them. Now, like I told you, you have 40, but each shelf is going to need 4, and you got 10 shelves, so that's why you need 40. Sounds daunting, but it's really not. What you're going to do with the first one is you're going to put glue on the back side and I'll run a bead of glue along here, along this back and the top. But I'm not going to put it on the top yet. I'm going to do it on the back, on the bottom, and on the side. And I'll show you why. We are going to put a bead of glue on the back. Now this is tedious, time consuming, but it is so worth it when you finish your product and you see how beautiful this is. Now we're just going to put a lot of glue right here. And now we're going to set this in all the way down and all the way back, making sure that it's stuck really good, just like that. Okay. Now we're going to do another one on the other side, but this time we're going to make sure that we put the glue on the bottom. I messed that one up just now. Put the glue on the bottom. You know, you got to pay attention to what you're doing when you're making a project like this. Okay, so that's the bottom. This is going to be the side that goes against the box. And this is going to be the back edge that goes against the back of the box. So now when you set this down in here, you're going to put it all the way down and all the way back. That's going to give you a ledge for your shelf to live on. But you're also going to put two more of these, and this time you're only going to glue here and here. And that's going to sit right on that line. The lines that we drew is going to be your guideline. And you're going to set those on that line. So that's why we have lines down in the bottom, and we have lines running along here. Those are going to be your guidelines for these pieces. Just like that. So I'm going to do 2 shelves, and then I'm going to go off camera and finish building these shelves, because it is time consuming, and I feel like if you see me do this twice, then you are not going to need to watch me build this all the way through. It will get very boring. So I'll do the rest of it off camera, and then we'll meet back up and see glue there and glue it to the bottom. And all I'm going to do is sit that in, lining it up with that line that I drew. That's why those lines are super important, because you want to get these as straight as you possibly can. Just like that. I'll do one more. Glue to the back. And glue to the bottom. And then put it in. My head's getting in the way, and I do apologize. At least I felt like it did. You want to make sure you get these nice and even, because you know this art glitter glue is going to set up fast. So see, once you get that in like that, make sure they're straight. And you know, they may not be perfect, but once you get your inks in there, nobody's going to notice that any imperfections. So then the next thing we're going to do, one of your 10 shelving pieces that we cut, they are going to go in and live right like that. And so you've got a lip here for it to glue to, and you've got these 2 pieces here. So this is where we're going to put our glue on the inside. So I'm going to turn this up so I can see what I'm doing, but I want you to see too. So I'm going to run a bead of glue right along there, right along this one. And the reason I didn't put this on when I was putting them in is this glue dries so fast that it would be dry before I got these all in. So now we're just going to take the shelf and lay it in just like this, making sure that we're hitting all of that glue. And now you're going to use the pieces in the back, the lines in the back, as your guidelines the rest of the way up. And you're going to do the same thing. You're going to put 2 here, 2 in the middle, and build it up. A shelf, and then 2, 4, and up. And then a shelf, 2, 4, and up. All the way up to the top. So I'm going to do one more with you, and then I'm going to break from the camera, and we will come back together, and then we'll start decorating it. But one more right here. Do some some right here on this back edge, and a little bit under the bottom. And you might want to get a baby wipe and to wipe the tip of your glue off ever so often, because it's going to get a little gunky, and you don't need a gunky ink, not ink, oh goodness, glue. Get it in here the right way, just like that. And then we're going to do the other side, and that's going to go like this. So I'm going to hold it this way so I can remember that this is the bottom, or the back. This is the bottom. So it's going to go in like that, so we need glue on this side. Didn't take a whole lot of glue. You know, just big some up on it. And glue it in. There, those are in, and so now we're going to do the two in the middle and do one more shelf, and then I will get right back with y'all once I get this built all the way to the top. So there on the back, and then on your bottom. And set it in, lining it up with the one that was already in there, and the line in the back. And it's very easy to do if you keep it directly in front of you. You can see whether you have it on the line. Oops. And then we're going to do one more. Let's see, back here, your back, and your bottom. And like I said, it can be time consuming, but you know, turn on some music, turn on your favorite TV talk show or whatever, put it on some cooking channel and listen to some wonderful recipes and get some ideas there while you're just gluing these in. Or you can use this time as meditation. A lot of times I use this as my prayer time when I'm doing something tedious like this, and I just talk to God. So that would be a wonderful thing to do. So now we've got one more shelf, and we're going to put glue along the sides. So I'm going to run a bead of glue along this one, along this one, and on this one. And we're going to go back on this one. And now we're ready to put our next shelf in. So take your shelf, lay it in, squeeze your sides so that it does adhere to them, and then just pat it down, making sure that it's on those lips. Important for it to catch on these side pieces. Okay, there is our second shelf in, and I am going to go off camera and I'm going to finish building this up, and I'll be right back.